Venga. Welcome to our Thursday edition of Detroit in Black and White. I'm Adolph Mongo. Nardone. How you doing?
I'm doing great.
Oh, we're downtown Trenton at Ramsey's on West Jefferson. And we had a familiar face with us. Why don't you introduce that?
We have Chief Michael Hawkins from the Trenton Police Department going to give us a quick update on the Tanisha Edison homicide.
Well, I appreciate it. My second time back here. I wanted to thank you first off for airing the episode back in March about our cold case homicide on Tanisha Edison. Since then, what's been going on? We did get some calls from people based on this podcast, actually. A little bit of information. We've also been working with the FBI, and we have conducted a polygraph lie detector test on
Chief, can
Yes.
I interrupt? Could you give, for those who aren't familiar with the case, if you could just give a brief overview of this case?
Yeah, absolutely. If you hadn't seen the previous podcast, this was a cold case that we had a body of a black female wash up from the Detroit River here in Trenton, September 12th, 2011. She was unidentified. She was an apparent victim of a murder. She had only been in the water, according to the medical examiner, for maybe 6-10 hours. But that case went cold. We couldn't even identify who the victim was. So throughout technology, DNA, in 2023, I took over the case and was able to identify our victim as Tanisha Edison, who was a Detroit resident who frequented the Plymouth and Greenfield area. So from that point, we then had a murder investigation, and we've been going all over town talking to relatives, to friends, to people in the area to find out what happened. We talked to her children, examined medical records, everything we could, and then came on the podcast here back in March, had a couple more calls. Then we have had one person complete a polygraph examination. I'm not going to go into that, but based on that, we're ramping up our investigation even more.
Why did the family ever file a missing persons report?
So the family, portion of the family, there's pockets of the family, I guess, all over town, some distant. There was family that attempted to file a missing. They say at one point they wouldn't take a report, and what came about was an unsolved or unreported CSE, criminal sexual assault kit, that brought up her name again back in 2018, and they went to the family, and that's when the official missing report came 7 years after the fact that we had the body. So that's what we're trying to figure out, why she wasn't reported, what happened, and any tips that we can get, any help we can get, we appreciate. We reached out to Crime Stoppers. So I spoke to them. As a matter of fact, today, before I came here, there should be something on Crime Stoppers going out here in the next couple of days.
And how active are you out there? Is it like every day, or is it just when tips come in, or where you figure out what next step? Tell us how the investigation is sort of moving along.
Yeah, so the investigation, I look at it every day. It is posted in my office, her picture. So it's a constant reminder that we have to solve this case. And this woman, her family deserve justice. We are not out every day doing this. I was the operations lieutenant when I took over the case in late 23. Since becoming the chief about a year ago, I have kept the case just with the relationships that I've had with some of the agencies working with. So anytime I can get on the case, I do spend. Last week when we were doing the polygraph, I think we were down in Detroit 3 days out of the week, talking to people, knocking on doors, and bringing people down to get this done. So any tip we follow up on, but I do usually follow up a couple times a week with some of the people we've already spoken to, and in an attempt to get in contact with others.
And the polygraph, I'm sorry, sorry, the polygraphs that are being conducted, is that by the FBI or state police, or who's
that was conducted by the FBI, one of the lead polygraphers in the area. And again, I'm not going to go into the specifics of that, but that we were there and we continued the investigation after, and we'll ramp up our investigation based on some of that information.
Can you simplify for those that may be accessing the show what a polygraph is? And secondly, what do you have to say directly to the folks that may know what's going on in this case?
So the first part, the polygraph, we had somebody in, and it's a professional that comes in, and it's a lie detector test is what it is. And we don't ask 1,000 questions. We just want to know specifically one or two answers to the question. It's asked many different ways. It's hours long process, but there were two questions that we necessarily wanted answered. And again, I'm not going to go into the specifics, but that's what that was. But I guess my statement to anybody in the family, anybody in the street that knows what's going on, we are going to solve this case. There is no doubt in my mind that we're going to solve this case. And whether it's just hard work, whether it's somebody coming forward, or it might even be with DNA and with technology. So I would suggest the first person that comes forward is going to benefit the most and give us any information that we have. So we will find you, and we are coming.
How do they get in contact with the Trenton Police Department to give tips?
Yep. So with the Trenton Police Department, they can contact myself, Chief Hawkins. I think we put up a number before, but it's 734-676-7095. Or I can provide my email as well, and they can contact us. But Crime Stoppers as well will be involved, probably starting tomorrow or by the first of the week.
Is that a reward?
Tips. We haven't come up with that yet, but I'm finalizing the proof for the document tomorrow.
Chief, is that the correct number there?
Go ahead.
That is the correct number. Yes.
Someone told me that basically when they people call in on tips on rewards, it's usually family members or somebody close to the person that did it. Do you think this reward, a possible reward, can help you solve this case quicker?
Based on the information that we've gathered in the investigation and many people we've spoken to, if that's the case, I would not be surprised to see someone, family member, or someone close, provide some tips on exactly what has happened.
Man, all those years you don't report a person missing. It's like they never existed.
Yeah, there's got to be a reason, and we're going to get to the bottom of what that reason is.
Chief, I have a quick question. When you're giving polygraphs, sometimes, and correct me if I'm wrong, but is it not used sometimes as an investigative tool beyond just figuring out the credibility, but you're also interviewing people, and sometimes you get information that they surrender during that. Is that happening?
Yeah, so a polygraph can be used. First off, they have to verify the information, verify other information. It can be an investigative tool as well to elicit more information for an investigation. And we were there, but this person voluntarily submitted to this polygraph. So we were there.
But you can't use it in court, right?
That's correct. So it would be
I always wondered why take it.
So did you get some did you get some useful information in this part of the investigation?
We received some useful information, most of the information that we expected, but some useful information, yes.
So I opened the newspaper the other day and I see the Trenton Police in the newspaper again. Some kind of tell us a little bit about this kidnapping mystery.
Yeah, as long as it's all good information in the newspaper, we're okay with it.
Yeah, they never make mistakes.
Yeah, so we had another case. It was a kidnapping case on Christmas Day. As a matter of fact, we had a female from our town that had a prior relationship with a gentleman by the name of George Mondarakis. He had come from New Jersey, and he had come more than once. He had tried to contact her, wanted to be with her, and unfortunately, she didn't feel the same. And he came on Christmas morning, and luckily we were tipped off by people that knew him that he was coming. And after him trying to evade us through a crowded church, he was apprehended. And if you've seen the story, you could probably talk to what was located in the vehicle. But it's what
a kidnapping kit.
Yeah, what investigators would call a kidnapping kit with maps and money and handcuffs and several cell phones, drop phones. And it was an interesting case due to the fact that it had crossed state lines and there was so much involved.
FBI.
What we did was we decided it would be best to let the federal authorities kind of run with the case. So while our officers did an outstanding job keeping everybody safe, he also had handguns in the car and weapons. So we made the initial arrest, brought the subject in, processed the evidence, and then from there, we turned it over and partnered with the FBI and let them run with it. And as a matter of fact, they were just in court, I think, yesterday or the day before on trying to keep him detained there.
And he had a connection to a major university. Is that what I understand?
There were reports that he was some type of faculty member at Notre Dame, and that's where they had met.
Good Catholic.
So, that wasn't part of ours, but, the odd thing, and I think they referenced it in the news article, is we had received a call from somebody else who had worked as an au pair for him and his family before that had the same situation occur to her. So that was turned over to the federal government. I know they referenced that in the documents.
And you have another cold case that nobody's taken lightly, that you're still looking at from the 70s. Is that correct?
That is correct. And as a matter of fact, the podcast that we had brought up some of that conversation, and it's a serious case. I've spoken to one of the family members who is going to come in, and we're going to sit down and reopen
that case. Was reopened. A sergeant was looking at it back probably 8 or 10 years ago, and they thought they were on the right track. And I can see the guy can't.
40 years.
I know who he is. I remember him. I don't know if he's still alive or dead. But I'd like to talk to him.
Well, that's good. We're gonna have to have you back on,
Chief.
Chief.
I have a question, Chief.
Yes, sir.
With all the talk we have in all the city and suburbs about fentanyl and opioids, what's the situation in Trenton there? Is that a problem for you guys, or have you guys been able to dodge that bullet?
Well, I don't think anybody's going to be able to dodge that bullet. Unfortunately, drugs are a problem everywhere. And I forgot what the stat I read yesterday, how much percentage of fentanyl is in some of the heroin and everything like that. Have we had issues? Yes. Is it a major issue? I mean, even one incident is a major issue to somebody. So what we've done, we've created a new police app, which does everything, notifications. You can do crime tips, submit, performance reviews on the officers and on your service. But in there, we also have an opioid addiction and mental health tab, so people can instantly connect with the resources that they need. And we just launched that 3 days ago.
Oh, wow.
You search up the Trenton Police Department on the App Store, and it also has some of those resources for the opioid problems.
Go ahead, Jeff.
I just wanted to say just briefly, I'm really proud of what Mike's doing over there at Trenton PD. And the residents, the citizens, the people that come to this town are they're getting what they deserve. They have a good police chief on board. I'm proud of him.
And we're going to have them on since we're coming down here every Thursday. Thank you, Chief.
All right, I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
And I polled, we've been taking that you get 99% as one of the best chiefs ever. Jim, I don't know.
Is that just between the two of us? Is that what it is? Okay.
But anyway, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back to you.
Special guest.
Yeah.
Without Project Clean Slate, there is no telling where I would be right now.
It gave him back his life, because once he got the felony, it seemed like life was over.
Being unemployed, being depressed, being a burden. Project Clean Slate helped wipe those things away. I can't say thank you enough. I am now able to work for a reputable airline. Detroit had my back, all because I live in Detroit.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabria, your Wayne County Treasurer.
If you're living in a home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Okay, welcome back. This is Detroit in black and white. Here we are in Trenton. That's your first time coming down here.
She's been here
No, I've been
before.
to Trenton
I'm
before.
talking about
Since you guys have been doing it on Thursday, yeah,
Yeah.
because I was teasing you Saturday. I was like, you guys been cheating on me. Going
Yeah,
somewhere
well,
else.
you know what? We was trying to hide. You know, Lengel is like some guys I grew up with. We used to go hide from them to play baseball, but they always found us. You know, and they caused trouble all the time. Now we got both shit starters here. We got Vanessa Moss. You're not the co-host today. You are
No.
the guest.
I am the guest today.
Okay.
Oh, so that means I'm in the hot seat.
And now you're not in the hot seat. You're running for 36 district court.
Yes, I'm running for 36 district court. There are 2 seats. There are 2 regular term seats. There are 6 candidates. I'm one of the 6 candidates. I am the best candidate. I am the most experienced candidate. I'm looking forward to, I'm claiming it. I'm looking forward to sitting on the bench at 36 district.
Why are you running? You know, you're a defense attorney and stuff, and
So
you defend the downtrodden and the guilty and everybody else. So now you want to be a judge.
Absolutely. I think that people who come before the court, and you're absolutely correct. I am a defense attorney, but in addition to doing criminal defense work, I do family matters. I handle custody, child support, felony non-support, divorces, post-judgment issues, prenups and post-nups. In addition to that, I have a wealth of experience in probate court. So guardianship, conservatorships, wills, etc. And in addition to that, I have done work in the juvenile court system. I continue to do work in juvenile court system, serving as a lawyer for children, a lawyer for parents, and also handling delinquency matters. So when I say experience, I'm saying experience, not just age, but I'm also, how long I've been on this earth and the different things that I've gone through in terms of experience, but legal experience. I've been practicing since 2002 as a solo practitioner.
Yeah, you had ran for office before
Yep.
for Congress. Now you running for judge, and when you ran for Congress, you was running against an incumbent Congress woman, et cetera, who had $1 million sitting up there,
Right.
And you did quite well.
Right.
Why judge and not?
So when people ask me
Congress.
why judge, I think that as a judge that you are able to effectuate change from the bench. You have to follow the law. But in looking at the law, you should be as a jurist, compassionate, you should have integrity, you should be honest, and you should treat everyone fairly.
You know we don't get that all the time. Do you?
You don't.
We get some
And,
real assholes sitting on the bench, not doing their work,
or,
not showing up.
Well, and that's another thing. You know what? If you're working for the people, 36th district is people's court. And I consider 36th district ground zero. Okay. That is the first court that if something happens in the city of Detroit, that's the first court that you're going to go to. If it's a landlord tenant, if it's collections, and I used to do collections as well. If it's collections matter, if it's a criminal matter, if it's a small civil matter, you're going to start right there in the district court. And I find, because I do, and I tell people all the time, look, I represent retained clients, but I also represent people who can't afford to retain an attorney. I accept appointments. One of the misnomers is, and I'm hoping that things would change on the bench, is you're in front of the court, you represent the client, and the first thing they say, are you retained or appointed? Let's change this narrative. First of all, you accept the appointment. I don't just take it because they send me a text message. Do you want the case?
You know what that
So
sound like?
but
I'll
you-
tell you what it sound like. I was in boot camp in the Marine Corps, and you go in 50 or 60 people in a squad, and you go to dinner, they call it chow or whatever, and they say, how many Marines on deck? And the guy say, 55 United States Marine recruit and 8 reservists. That's how they used to classify it. So they are making a difference. Like you got a good lawyer if you pay for it, but you gotta hack if it's free.
Right,
So
and
we
that's not
guilty.
true. And I think that you have to change the narrative. When I talk to people like I was in court today, I explained, I accepted the appointment. That means that I wanted to represent you in this case. You will be amazed at how people react. And I've shared this information with a couple of my colleagues, and it's like, oh, that's a good idea. I'm going to share. But I think it should also come from the bench. That if you're as a jurist, if you're sending that message to the people that are before you, to the person that is before you, I think that changes the dynamics. Words matter. Words matter. And how you communicate with people, that matters. And so getting back to your question, is ground zero. I think people should be treated with dignity and respect and fairly. And I think that people who go to court, they want their voice to be heard. You may hear 500 landlord tenants matter, but guess what? Vanessa's matter is Vanessa's matter, right? And so I want my matter to be heard. I don't want to feel like I'm on a conveyor belt and I'm just going through the system. And I think it's important that people feel that way. People understand that you have a docket, but you allow them to be heard. And listen, if you're working at the pleasure of the people, you're getting your money from the state of Michigan. So if you're supposed to be at work at 8 o'clock, you be at work at 8 o'clock and you leave at 4 o'clock, 4:30.
So
Hey, Vanessa, I got a question. I have a question. When you look at as a lawyer and you're running for judge, do you say, hey, I can do that job, or hey, I can do that job better?
I say both. It depends on who you're in front of.
And how would you grade the judges in 36th District Court? Right?
Listen, you know what? I don't want to get into grading because they're going to be my colleagues, and so I would not. I wouldn't do that.
It's like grading a professor.
I can grade him as a police officer. I spent a lot of time in the 36th District Court when I was in drug.
You got some good ones, and you got some not so good ones.
Just like police officers or
Doctors,
journalists
lawyers,
or lawyers or
everybody.
I was going to say, by the way, I don't know how it is in the court appointed, and anyone can take an appointment. You don't have to be the public defender, or you can just be a lawyer who's on the list of taking appointments in the court there. In federal court, which I was more familiar with, the federal defender's office had some of the best attorneys who were better than a lot of the attorneys, the high-paid attorneys. They were some of the best. So,
but if I went in court as a defendant and they said, is it paid or unpaid or whatever, I say, damn, I'm not paying.
I think the message is, if you get Vanessa Moss as your attorney or your judge, it's the same Vanessa Moss.
Right, it's the same Vanessa Moss. You don't get the same Vanessa Moss. Sometimes I'm spicy, but for the most part, and I'm going to say 99.9% of the time, I'm very respectful of people. I allow people to talk. Now, then sometimes I'm human too. So sometimes, people get,
Just like you're doing now. Just like you're doing now. You're talking. You're talking. Now, let me ask you this question. You have turned in your signatures, right?
Yes.
Your petitions.
Yes.
You tired?
I am not tired, but as you know, there's a person that's going around the state of Michigan filing challenges.
Yeah.
And I have my suspicions as to who is behind the person who the same person's challenged. A whole lot of people who's challenged me. But one thing that you don't know about me is this. I get up every morning, I get dressed, and I play Eminem, Lose Yourself. I'm ready for the fight. I'm ready for the challenge. So what you're not going to do, kind sir, and the people that's behind him, the people that paid him to do this, and I really think the legislatures need to do something about that, is that what you're not going to do is catch me sleeping. I backed up what I did. And I'm just going to leave it at that because we have a certain amount of time before
Right,
I answer
right.
this.
Can I
dog.
ask you? Can I ask you a question? Can you
Yes.
explain that? We've seen scandals over the signatures in the governor's race and stuff. How are they catching duplications, and how much do those people out there get paid per signature to?
So,
I can answer that.
yeah,
Yeah.
well, I'm going
Go
to tell,
ahead.
and then you go ahead. I will say this. As a candidate, I think it is incumbent upon you as a candidate to look at those petitions. I spent a lot of time looking at those petitions.
What are you looking for?
Looking for, if you give me a petition, all these names are filled out, it's the same ink, the same slant of the letters, the same date, it's obvious that this is fraudulent. Get the heck out of here, sir, ma'am. Okay, so as a candidate, the buck stops with you. Just like as the judge, the buck stops with you. You're the one that's making the decision. So as a candidate, you're responsible. Your name is on it. I don't care if you
The
have
three
your surrogates,
the three stooges,
so-
James Craig and the rest of the stooges from the Republicans, paid people money and they didn't check those signatures
Right.
because listen, politics 101, eye test. Don't pass the eye test, boom. Politics 102. You got a person that got a voters list that gives you the names of every registered voter in the state of Michigan. So people know who's who.
Right.
So they look for little petty things like, oh, the fonts is not big. They go to court for this person was at this address, but the person moved. And it's a valid signature. So signatures, listen, people get signatures. It depends on who's paying, anywhere from $5 a signature to 10 or 12. You
Wow.
go to California, they paying $20 a signature.
Wow.
Or you go to Illinois, they paying $30 a signature, and they got 4 or 5 things on the ballot. People
Can
make money.
But can you imagine if you have a market like here, you have a market and it ranges from 5 to 10, and you say, well, I'll get somebody to do my signatures for $1.50. What kind of signatures do you think that you're going to have? But I just think that if for me, you're running for office, you're going to need help. There's no possibility, because I have to work every day. I have to keep a roof over my head. I have to eat. I have to look fly. But you're going to have to depend on the village to help you, and you may have to pay. But at the end of the day, it is your name that's on that petition. It is your name that's going to go on that ballot, and so it's incumbent upon you to look at it. Let me say one more thing. My challenge is not signatures. They didn't challenge my signatures. Let's be clear. That was not the case.
No, they should did. So they don't have a pot to piss in.
Right.
You having a campaign meeting?
I am. I'm having a campaign meeting this coming Friday. Karen Winston, I would love for you to come and join my team. You can I can get the address. If you watching, if you want to come to the campaign meeting, come too, and you know what, you'll be impressed with the village that I have. Yeah, I'm talking junk. Yeah, you came from me. I didn't send for you, but guess what? I'm going to run my race. I'm going to do what I have to do, and I'm going to get one of those seats in 36th District. My address, the address is 26677 West 12 Mile Road, 26677 West 12 Mile Road. The meeting starts at 6 o'clock. Please come. If you want to volunteer for my candidacy, Vanessa Moss, candidate for
You
judge.
got barbecue ribs, church's
No, I'm not
chicken.
doing none of that. We're taking care of
Is
it.
that the correct, Vanessa? Is that the correct right there?
Yes.
Yeah, that's it.
Yes.
We're gonna take a break and we're gonna come back and wrap it up.
All right. Let's see.
Without Project Clean Slate, there is no telling where I would be right now.
It gave him back his life, because once he got the felony, it seemed like life was over.
Being unemployed, being depressed, being a burden. Project Clean Slate helped wipe those things away. I can't say thank you enough. I am now able to work for a reputable airline. Detroit had my back, all because I live in Detroit.
Yeah. Yes.
Hi, I'm Eric Sabria, your Wayne County Treasurer. If you're living in the home of a deceased family member and you're facing property tax foreclosure, the probate process can be helpful to you. If you file a probate petition and notify our office, the foreclosure proceedings will be halted during the probate process. Contact us at 313-224-5990 or email us at taxinfo@waynecounty.com. We're here to help.
Now we know why you running. We're back.
Karen, the meeting is this Friday. This Friday,
Okay.
May the 3rd.
Fourth.
May the
The
3rd.
third.
May the 3rd. That's tomorrow. At 6 o'clock. So
You're not getting Alzheimer's. Are
no, I'm not getting Alzheimer's.
Okay.
I've just had a long day. I had a long day in court. And
Okay.
then,
Did-
I
did
called you last night because I got an email from the Secretary of State telling me that I'm being challenged by this guy who was challenging every single body. And now, if you talk about should they do something, you know what? I do not think that it is correct because as an attorney, I can't just file frivolous lawsuits. I got a problem with you filing something frivolously, and people have to spend money for representation to keep their name on the doggone on the ballot. I think that is ridiculous.
And this guy's rarely successful, but he tries to.
I don't even know the guy. I have no
Wait,
idea.
wait,
That's
I got a question.
their race has a problem with me. Why I don't know.
Go ahead.
I have a question. As a 36th District Court judge, how can you impact some of the way the treatment is, instead of giving somebody a sentence? And how do you, what's your theory on like what you want to accomplish there in terms of addressing crime in the city?
Well, addressing crime, I think that is a community thing. But one of the things that I do think with especially 36th District Court, it's the largest district court in the state of Michigan. As I said, it's ground zero. So you have people who come there and they have pre-existing issues. For instance, mental illness.
Yeah.
I had a case, I think I told you about this, and I was so upset. I had a case where, and actually I was helping a colleague of mine on this case. And it was clear that this woman had, suffered from mental illness. She was arrested, and the police decided that they were going to give her a shot. They didn't get an order from the court or nothing. But what was interesting about this lady is this. Last July, we had torrential rains. She had enough presence of mind to understand that going to court was important. She was homeless because the person that was supposed to be taking care of her took all her money off her EBT card. And as soon as all the money was done, kicked her out. That lady slept on a bench close to the courthouse. She came to court, she was soaking wet. She was trembling. And I'm like, how could you be so heartless? So you have to have a heart if you're sitting on the bench. How could you be so heartless? Fortunately, before I could even open up my mouth, we're dismissing it. I bet you are. But I believe if the prosecutor, because she assaulted the police. She was trying to protect herself from them injecting her.
Sure.
But I really believe that if we had proceeded with that exam, that the case would have been dismissed because that judge that sits on the bench that day, he's a compassionate person and he understands what goes on. So I think when you're talking about what can you change, is that you have to set an example. You have to set an example for your, exactly. And Karen, believe it or not, I was so upset. I gave the lady some money because I took the people mover over to the court. So I just had $20 in my pocket. I gave her some money so that she can go to the laundromat and get, dry her clothes. But I thought about it and I was like, man, it's Salvation Army right here. I could have had her take the people mover to get some dry clothes. But given that it is a ground zero, I think that in light of the fact that we're going through social justice, wouldn't it be nice if we had a well-rounded approach to addressing people who come to court? People don't pay, when people have collection issues. I always look at myself, that could be me. You know, there was once upon a time where, as people say in the street, once upon a time, we went through a phase, I'm talking about my family, where we were on our knuckles, didn't have any money, right? Hard times. And I'm not afraid to say that. So somebody come before you and they have a collection matter. The law is you're supposed to pay your bills, right? But there's things that you can do to help people out, because I guarantee you, if you're talking to someone and if they have to choose between paying this collection matter or taking care of their family, the family's going to win. But guess what? As a jurist, you can ask, well, have you thought about, suggest, because you can't practice law from the bench. There's something that's called a debtor's hearing, where you find out how much debt the people are in. People can do installment agreements. So those kind of things. I know when I was doing collection matters, people were always telling me thank you, because I would always say that could be me, that could be my mother, that could be anybody I know. So listen, what can you pay? And I'm like, are you serious? Yes, what can you pay? And the firm that I was doing the work for, they were fine because they buy the debt for pennies on the dollar. So
anyway, when is the election?
The election is August the 6th, 2024. I believe the absentee ballots are going out on June the 27th. Again, I'm having my meeting this Friday, my first meeting. Why should someone vote for you? Quickly.
Why should it? Because I'm Vanessa Moss.
I'm just kidding. Well,
It's good enough reason.
Right. As I said, I think that the people of the city of Detroit deserve experience. They deserve someone that's honest. They deserve to have someone that has integrity. They deserve someone that's compassionate. I am that person. And I'm also the person that if you vote for me, I guarantee you I can sit on the bench.
Okay.
Yeah, that's shade.
Okay.
I can sit on the bench.
Okay. Hey, we're gonna end this great show. Thank Chief Hawkins from the Trenton Police Department, Jim Nardone, Teresa, Allan Lengel from Deadline Detroit, and Vanessa Moss, candidate for 36th District Court. And I'm Adolph Mongo. We're broadcasting live from downtown Trenton.
And send this one to your friends. Send this show to all your friends in Detroit.
Subscribe and share.
And
like, subscribe, share. Karen, like, subscribe, share.
We'll see you Saturday at McShane's Michigan and Trumbo.
And we've got, we can say real quick, we've got two guests. We've got Vanessa has got, tell us about your guest a little bit for Saturday.
Oh, so last year you had your guest on and they were talking about the Techno Fest, techno music and all that.
Oh,
so
right.
We have a local DJ that is renowned. I mean, she travels around the world. Stacy Hot Wax Hale. She is the godmother of house. And I thought it would be fitting to have her come because this is the month that we're going to have Techno Fest downtown, which is the end of
the worst music ever. And your guest,
and we'll also have Curtis Chin, who his parents owned Chung's restaurant on Cass in the Cass Corridor, which was legendary. He's written a book that's been reviewed by the LA Times, the Washington Post. It's called Everything I've Learned. I learned in a Chinese restaurant, and I've read the book. It's a great book, and should be an interesting show Saturday. So.
Yeah, we're gonna have somebody from the Redistrict Commission stop by, and talk about they redistricting the Senate, the state Senate seats. We're gonna have a pretty full cast on Saturday. Hopefully, great weather. Right. Okay. See you next week. Wow.